What's up, gamers? Welcome back to Level Up News. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, and I appreciate you guys for sticking around with the channel. I needed some time off to recharge, and honestly, just play games without talking about them all the time. In the past month, I've been sinking my teeth into Dune Awakening. I clocked in about 80 hours exploring Arrakis, experimenting with different builds and getting completely lost in the desert politics. I also jumped back into Destiny when the new expansion dropped. I'm about 2/3 with the game done, and it's been pretty good. And because I like balance, I finally started the classic Trails in the Sky, playing the first game from scratch. It's been a great reminder of how rich character-driven RPGs can be. That time away from this has really rekindled my excitement, and I'm thrilled to be back. Today, we're diving into the top gaming stories from the last 72 hours. So let's get into it. Our first story has PlayStation fans buzzing. Sony posted a job listing for a senior director of multi-platform and account management earlier this week. On the surface, that might sound like just another executive position, but the details tell a bigger story. The person in the role will shape and execute a global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio titles across Steam, the Epic Game Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. In other words, Sony is actively hiring someone to oversee the rollout of its first-party games beyond PlayStation. That's a huge shift for a company that's historically kept its biggest exclusives, like The Last of Us and God of War, locked in its own hardware. This isn't entirely out of nowhere. We've seen PC ports of Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War perform well, while Helldivers 2 was launched both on PlayStation 5 and PC. But this job description explicitly mentions Xbox and Nintendo platforms, which naturally sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Are we about to see Spider-Man or The Last of Us Part 3 drop on Xbox day and date? Probably not. Even the most optimistic analysts think Sony will continue releasing older titles on other platforms while keeping new releases tamed for PlayStation. What it does signal is a broader strategy to monetize games beyond the hardware install base. With PlayStation 5 sales plateauing and competition heating up, it makes sense for Sony to follow Microsoft's lead and look beyond the next console box. From a business perspective, it's a logical move, but it still causes debate in the community. Some players worry that if everything goes multi-platform, there's less incentive to own a PlayStation. Others are excited at the prospect of more gamers being able to experience Sony's catalog. Either way, the fact that Sony is explicitly planning for multi-store release is big news, and we'll be watching to see which games make the jump first. Valve also stirred up controversy this week by quietly introducing a new rule on Steam. Called Rule 15, it bans games that may violate the terms of major payment processors. Unlike previous guidelines that targeted illegal or pornographic content, Rule 15 is essentially a catch-all for anything Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal might find objectionable. Within hours of the rule going live, hundreds of games, many of them niche or adult-oriented, were removed from Steam's database. Affected developers received only a brief "we're sorry" email explaining that their games weren't necessarily illegal, they just made payment partners uncomfortable. The backstory itself is fascinating. An Australian advocacy group called the Collective Shout reportedly emailed payment processors around 1,000 times asking them to cut ties with Steam because of certain adult games. Those companies responded by pressuring Valve to ensure their content guidelines were up to date, and Valve responded. Critics argue this sets a dangerous precipice. A handful of financial institutes can effectively censor games by threatening to withhold services. As New Feeds analyst points out, Steam had previously vowed not to cave to special interests unless a game was illegal. That promise seems to be broken. Indie developers are understandably furious, not only because their games were delisted, but because they lost access to their earnings while accounts are under review. It wasn't just Steam. Itch.io reportedly hid over 21,000 games at its payment processor's request. Beyond the immediate financial impact, Rule 15 illustrates how valuable digital storefronts are to third-party policies. Today, it's niche adult games. Tomorrow, it could be visual novels, mods, or other genres that companies deem too risky. We'll see if Valve revises the rule or if it stays as is. But for now, it's a stark reminder that games that we buy are at the mercy of corporate gatekeepers. In more upbeat news, Warner Bros. Has signaled a return to Gotham. According to Bloomberg report, summarized by Newsfeed, Warner Bros. CEO David Zaslav said that a new Batman game is now the company's top priority. After the mixed reception of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the publisher appears ready to abandon live service experimentation and head back to single-player, story-driven formula that made Arkham series a phenomenon. Fans have been clamoring for this since Arkham Knight wrapped up the trilogy nearly a decade ago, and rumors have been swirling about what this comeback might be. A report hints at two possibilities. One is a full remake of Arkham Asylum built from the ground up for next-generation hardware. Rather than a simple remaster, this would be a modern reimagining of the 2009 classic with revamped mechanics and updated visuals. The other option is a complete franchise reboot, potentially exploring a darker, more detective-focused Gotham with branching storylines and deeper side activities. Fans have been whispering about a Batman Beyond game set in Neo Gotham, or a title exploring the Court of Owls in a more meaningful way. Concept art from canceled projects like Project Sabbath shows an older Bruce passing down the mantle to Damian Wayne, so there's no shortage of ideas. What's clear is that Rocksteady or whichever studio takes on the project will be under pressure to deliver. The Arkham series set a standard for superhero games that few have matched. Returning to that pedigree would restore confidence in Warner Bros.' ability to tell engaging single-player stories. It also fits into a broader industry trend of publishers pivoting back to published offline experiences after years of live service fatigue. Batman may have been lying low, but it sounds like the Dark Knight is ready to rise again. Next up, let's talk about Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar has been tight-lipped about GTA 6, but rumors are swirling about one particularly ambitious feature: player-driven heists. According to reporting from Newsfeed, sources claim Rockstar is exploring a new system that would allow players to stumble upon a bank or armored truck and decide on the fly to rob it. There would be no pre-assigned missions or objective markers, just emergent opportunities in the open world. If implemented, this would be a radical departure from the scripted setups we've seen in GTA Online and single-player campaigns. The concept is to replace the existing multi-step, menu-driven heist with unscripted, real-time robberies. You and your crew could plan to hit a low-security bank in a small town or risk a high-stakes corporate vault in the heart of Vice City, with each target featuring different security levels, guard patterns, and payout scales. Rockstar are reportedly experimenting with dynamic responses. Go loud and you'll see SWAT teams, spike strips, and helicopters. Pull off a stealth job and you might slip away clean. There would be no cutscenes or load screens, just a seamless pivot from exploration to crime. If this rumor holds, it could fundamentally change how players engage with open-world crime games. Heist and GTA Online were innovative at launch, but have become repetitive, with players memorizing setups and optimizing routes. A freeform system could make each robbery unique and interesting. It also raises an interesting question about balance and griefing in multiplayer. How do you prevent chaos in a world where anyone can rob anything at any time? Rockstar hasn't confirmed anything yet, and the final game may be more traditional, but the very idea of emergent heist has fans excited. Combine that with a rumored 2026 release and a return to Vice City, and we may be looking at a paradigm shift in open world design. Finally, we have a story that shows the blurring lines of console exclusivity. A level designer at the Coalition, the studio behind the Gears franchise, updated his resume recently. Eagle-eyed fans noticed that Gears of War E-Day, the recently announced prequel, was listed as a targeting PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. Push Square's article notes that the Coalition is already bringing a remaster of the original Gears of War to PlayStation 5 next month, so the idea of a new prequel launching on PlayStation doesn't seem that far-fetched. Microsoft has already taken unprecedented steps this year by porting Forza Horizon 5 to PlayStation 5 and releasing older titles like Hi-Fi Rush on Switch. According to Push Square, Forza has become one of the best-selling games on PlayStation this year, giving Microsoft a strong initiative to continue. An internal report suggests that additional Xbox titles, possibly even State of Decay 3, could be announced for PlayStation soon. For years, Gears has gone hand in hand with Xbox, serving as a system seller alongside with Halo. Seeing it on a rival platform would underscore Microsoft's shift from hardware sales to software and subscription revenue. From a strategic standpoint, this multi-platform move mirrors Sony's own push to release games on PC and perhaps eventually Xbox. Both companies are trying to maximize software sales as console growth slows. For players, it's fantastic. More choice means fewer barriers to experience great games. There is a risk that the platform identity gets diluted, but given the cost of AAA development, bordering the audience may be essential for sustainability. Expect Microsoft to clarify its plans in the coming months. This resume leak might be the first hint of a future where platform walls come down completely. And that wraps up today's Level Up news. To recap, PlayStation is hiring for a multi-platform strategy lead. Valve's Rule 15 sparked a payment processor purge on Steam. Warner Bros. Is making a new Batman game its top priority. Rumors hint at an unscripted heist in GTA 6, and Gears of War may come out on PlayStation 5. It's been a wild 72 hours in the gaming world, and I hope you're as excited as I am to see how these stories develop. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and like it. It really helps the channel grow. If you want to go the extra mile to support us, check out our merch store for exclusive Level Up designs and join our Discord community. We got a great group of people in there talking about video games, sharing tips, and just hanging out. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about Sony and Microsoft embracing multi-platform releases? Are you worried about payment companies dictating what games we play? Which version of a new Batman game would you prefer? A remake, a reboot, or something completely different? Drop your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep grinding, keep shining, and I'll see you on the next level.